2021 is going to be a weird way to travel all around the world, and especially in New Zealand. The country is close to pretty much every single international tourism market except for Australia and probably some South Pacific islands. So basically, tourists will have the whole country to themselves, and locals too. So here's our top places to visit in 2021 for the best experience.
Alright guys, I'm Laura and this is Robin, and we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. And although we say it ourselves, the best place to go and learn more about the places we're going to talk about in this video of the best places to visit in New Zealand in 2021. So let's get started with the list, and the first place we recommend visiting in New Zealand in 2021 is Kaikoura.
So Kaikoura is a fantastic town on the South Island of New Zealand. It's a couple of hours north of Christchurch, and it has a major appeal for wildlife lovers. It's one of the best places in the country to do whale watching. It's one of the best places in the country to do dolphin swimming. It's one of the best places in the country to do seal swimming, which is one of my favorite activities in the country. And there is even some amazing cruises to go check out seabirds. So Kaikoura is always a very busy touristic hotspot in New Zealand. There's always a ton of bus tours there, and it's usually pretty crowded because the town itself is very small. So 2021 is a one in a lifetime chances to experience Kaikoura almost tourist free. You will have a blast there, you will have the town all to yourself, you will have all those attractions in a much more intimate setting. You will absolutely love it. So I think Kaikoura should be number one on your top list of things to visit in New Zealand in 2021.
Alright, number 2 on the list is the Coromandel. So the Coromandel is a peninsula which is a couple of hours drive from Auckland. It's on the North Island, and it's basically known for its stunning beaches, particularly Hot Water Beach, where you can dig your own hot pool in the sand, as well as Cathedral Cove, which has beautiful white cliffs and archways. Really awesome place to go kayaking or go hiking to. Typically on a normal year when there isn't a pandemic, it's really busy with both international tourists and Aucklanders. So if you want to experience the beaches with a little less people, only just the Aucklanders, because the Aucklanders love the Coromandel, but if you want to go there when there's less international tourists, then 2021 is the perfect time to go do so.
You won't have to fend off busloads of tourists in order to dig your own jacuzzi on the hot water beach. That's pretty good.
Yes. Okay, next on our list, number 3 is Gisborne and the East Cape area.
So Gisborne and the East Cape area are never really busy, right? So the appeal of Gisborne and the East Cape is not the lack of tourists, because pretty much any year Gisborne and the East Cape are usually pretty easy to visit. There are fantastic wines over there, there's beautiful coastline. It's actually one of the best places in the world to watch the sunrise, because it's actually one of the first places in the world to watch sunrise. But the appeal in 2021 to visit Gisborne is the Mahia Peninsula. This is where there is a company called Rocket Lab, which is doing space exploration. They launch a lot of rockets into space from there, and their schedule for 2021 is quite packed. So if you are a space buff, if you are into space exploration and you've never watched a shuttle launch, why not doing it from New Zealand? There is no better places which is going to be more scenic to watch a rocket being launched into space. So if it is your thing, then the East Cape and the Gisborne area is for you.
Alright, next on the list we have somewhere in the South Island this time, and that's the Abel Tasman National Park. So the Abel Tasman National Park is located in the north of the South Island, and it's famous for its golden sand beaches backed with beautiful native forest. The main reasons to go there is to do the Abel Tasman Coast Track, which is one of the multi-day great walks of New Zealand. But you can do it in a day trip. There's lots of water shuttles taking you bringing you back on from the track back to the beginning, for instance. But you can also go kayaking, you can go sailing, and just by that description, you'll probably realise that it's a pretty popular place to go to do all those amazing things. But 2021 is a good time to go when it's a little less crowded. Okay, next on our list of the top places to visit in New Zealand in 2021 is the Tongariro Crossing.
So the Tongariro Crossing is probably on your list no matter when you're visiting New Zealand. It's actually the single most popular day hike in New Zealand. So yeah, doing it in 2021 means you will have much less people around. We actually just released on the channel a complete guide to the Tongariro Crossing. So if you want to check that out, you'll be able to know exactly what you are in for. Plus, if you go there in winter, so first up, if you do the crossing in winter, you'll have to use a guide because you're going to be literally climbing an icy mountain. So you need all the crampons and all the know-how from the guide. But if you are traveling in New Zealand in winter, the Tongariro area is also home to Ruapehu ski field, which is one of the largest ski fields in the country. So if you're into skiing and snowboarding, check out Ruapehu. It's always it's more of a local ski field rather than an international ski field, but it definitely deserves to be an international ski field.
And they are the largest ski fields in New Zealand as well. Alright, next on our list we have the beautiful Stewart Island. Now Stewart Island is a little bit off the beaten track, so it's a pretty quiet destination no matter what year it is, but it's definitely recommended to go just because it's so tranquil and beautiful. It's an easy ferry trip from the bottom of the South Island from Bluff, or a quick flight from Invercargill. And on the island you can go spotting kiwi birds, you can go to Ulva Island, which is then another quick ferry trip, only about 5 minutes from the main town, which is called Auburn. And over there you get to see beautiful forest, which is absolutely filled with beautiful birds and all sorts of wildlife. So yeah, it's amazing. I'm a big fan, and you can find out more about Stewart Island on nzpocketguide.com. Alright, next on the list for beautiful places to visit is Picton.
So Picton is usually not on the itineraries of anybody when traveling in New Zealand, despite the fact that pretty much everybody travels to Picton, because this is where the Inter-Islander and the Blue Bridge ferry lands on the South Island. So if you're traveling from the North Island to the South Island, you will be arriving in Picton when stepping on the South Island, and if you are traveling from South to North, you will be departing from Picton to go to the North Island. So yeah, fantastic place to visit. A lot of people actually skip Picton. But in 2021, it's a great place to visit just because, the traffic will be much lower between both islands. So you will have actually a bit more freedom traveling there. There's going to be less kind of like cars everywhere and everything. So it's a really good time to explore the town of Picton. And some of those small towns have a ton to offer. And by the way, let's just show you guys Bulls right here. If you want to actually have a quick look, there you go. This is the town of Bulls in New Zealand, which have plenty of bulls everywhere, including a lot of bull puns. And the world famous Bull Museum on 81 High Street.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
So yeah, although we don't recommend to visit Bulls on our list, we should do since we're passing through it. Yeah. But next on our list is Queenstown. Okay, so Queenstown, you've probably heard of it. It's a tourist hotspot in New Zealand. It is probably one of the busiest places to come to, considering it's a really small town. It's absolutely full usually with international tourists. So if you want to visit somewhere, if you want to visit Queenstown when it's a little less crowded, 2021 is a good time to go. Although there'll still be local tourists, there'll still be Australian tourists, there won't be everyone else. So Queenstown has a ton of different stuff to do, since the rest of 2021 does involve the ski season. You have 4 ski fields close to Queenstown, which you can go check out. There's also a ton of different adrenaline activities that you can do. You can do whitewater rafting, bungee jumping, skydiving, canyoning, and the list goes on and on. It's also close to many beautiful hikes, lake tours, all sorts of amazing stuff. Queenstown usually doesn't need much of an introduction because most people already know all about this really popular town. Okay, next on the list for you, Robin, is Northland.
So the Northland region is the region located north of Auckland. So usually the region wrestle with a large amount of tourists because, well, this is kind of the getaway, a little bit like the Coromandel that Laura was mentioning. It's the getaway for tourists coming out of Auckland. So everybody wants basically a beach escape, and any Aucklanders which have a weekend also want to go over there to get to have another weekend getaway as well and go to the beach. So it usually has a lot of traffic there, but in 2021 it's pretty low traffic. So I know most of our selling points right now are, well, there is not that many people at the moment, but it's really good and it's very different. It would make an experience in, for example, the town of Bahia extremely different. Usually you literally have to queue for the ice cream shop, for the restaurants. Most of the attractions are usually, you know, pretty much filled to the brim. This year it won't be the case, so what about trying it? So Northland region.
Okay, finally, number 10 on our list of the places to visit in New Zealand in 2021 is Waitomo. Okay, Waitomo is famous. It's on the North Island, and it's famous for its beautiful glowworm caves. Under the ground, you see amazing limestone features, beautiful stalactites and stalagmites, but between all that, you also get to see beautiful glowworms in many different ways. You could go on walking tours through the caves, you can go on boat tours and drift underneath the glowworms. You can do caving and tubing with black water rafting or with Waitomo adventures, and they also include abseiling and just doing some crazy stuff underground. There's really a lot to do in Waitomo, and like many of the places we've mentioned on this list, it's one of the places that's really popular to visit in New Zealand. So if you want to go somewhere that's usually popular and it won't be as busy as it usually is, Waitomo is one of those places to go visit.
There you go. So with all that in mind, remember that traveling to New Zealand in 2021 includes a lot of restrictions. If you are Australian, we have a video on the channel that actually explains all the different restrictions and tips that you need to keep in mind when traveling in New Zealand in 2021 due to this whole COVID situation. If you are a New Zealander, well, make the most of your country. I mean, explore your own backyard. There's no better year to do that, let's be honest. And if you are another international tourist, then New Zealand has opened its border afterwards, after we've done this whole video. Well, welcome. It is long overdue for you guys to come and visit New Zealand. Wow, there are some planes doing massive tricks around. Laura, what is YouTube asking us to do at the end of every video?
So YouTube is asking us to ask you guys to click the like button if you did find this video useful, and also to subscribe for more videos about travelling in New Zealand. And something that we're asking you to do is to head to nzpocketguide.com for more information about travelling in New Zealand. It's absolutely free to use, and you'll find more information on all the destinations we've talked about on the website. So go check it out.
Bye bye.